Hi guys, it's Burnett here from Mind, Body, Soul Balance. Hey, I'm on my way to yoga, but it's often a time of me getting in the car. I can travel, I can talk to you guys, and I hope you don't mind. And I guess I wanted to share with you kind of a message about emotional vulnerability. And you know, I had something that came up for me recently where I had to make a decision. And honestly, I struggled with this for quite a couple of days. And you know, if you've ever been in a bit of a mental struggle with you, a couple of days is a bloody long time, right? And I had tried to ground myself. I had walked the coast and asked, you know, divine and spirit, you know, provide me with some guidance on this. And you know, I just was not getting anywhere with what decision I was going to make. And you know, I thought, well, maybe I'll just do nothing and it'll resolve itself. And often that just leads to a little bit more mental anguish. Yeah. And I did some Reiki on myself, and you know, I do tarot readings for myself as well as, you know, I do it for you guys as well. But yeah, I often, you know, seek that guidance, and it was during a moment of quiet time where I thought, you know what, my biggest issue here is my unwillingness to stand in my own emotional vulnerability and ask the right questions, and you know, particularly in relationships and with people. And I guess, you know, I want to talk to you about emotional vulnerability because it's one, for me, I'm not sure about you, but for me, it's always been one of the hardest places for me to stand in and fully accept sometimes our feelings. And sometimes our feelings can be overwhelming. And I grew up in a family where I had a father who has never been very emotionally vulnerable at all. He's learning, he's getting better, but he would just shut down and walk off when anything, you know, emotional came up in our family, or even if you wanted to have a talk to him. I can remember trying to have it, and I love him to bits. He's just the most beautiful man. And I can remember trying to talk to him about something that was, you know, quite emotional to me, and you know, before I'd even gotten a few sentences out, his way of coping is to go and make you a cup of tea. And mid-sentence, while I'm trying to talk to him, he literally turned around and walked into the kitchen, and I was standing there going, well, great. He's like literally just shut me down. So I had that, and then I also had a mother who was highly emotional, total opposite to me, and still is highly emotional, and would get, you know, a bit hysterical and very much a drama queen, and so not me, right? So I had these two extremes growing up of how do you cope with that, and my way of coping with emotional vulnerability was doing exactly what my dad did, which was walk away, right? I push people away and walk away and just go and find some quiet time because I found that experience overwhelming because of what I'd gone through. You know, I was often putting up my protective barriers just to cope with highly emotional people. And to this day, I still don't cope well with highly emotional people. And, you know, I'm not talking about, you know, that I think there's a certain level of emotion which I think everybody can express, and you support your friendships, your friends and your family through those, and your children and your partners and things like that. But there's also, you know, you do know those people that are highly needy, right? And they suck the life out of you. They do, because they drain your energy and they drain your emotional energy, and there's reasons behind that emotional neediness. And often it comes back to our attachment types and how we formed our relationships between the ages of 0 and 3 and 0 to 5, right? And obviously that's how I had to, you know, created my own attachment style. And I used to swing between being, you know, kind of, I can remember over the years when I look back at it, because, you know, I didn't come to this place going, oh, this is what my attachment type is. I've done a lot of work in terms of unraveling my own story to balance and ground myself and come back to a place of not only high spirituality, but also of emotional well-being. And part of that journey is unraveling the reasons why you show up in relationships like you do. And it's a very important thing to dig into. If you've got relationships that aren't working out and you're recycling through certain patterns, guaranteed you're bringing something into those relationships that's from how you grew up, what you witnessed, what you modeled, because that's the only way we learn, right? Often, and when we're children, when we're babies, 0 to 5, we're like little sponges, right? And you know, I think in our hearts we know when something's not quite aligned to who we are, even as children, even as growing teenagers, and you can feel it. I always felt it. I always felt that there was stuff going on, a lot of control issues in our family. And you know, you do get to a certain point as an adult that you start like putting boundaries in place with people and arcing up a bit about that. but often, you know, you're dealing with the people that you love, but it's also, you know, they're supposedly to be your protectors, and sometimes your protectors are not often the greatest examples, and you know, they learned their stuff from their parents and their parents before them of how to relate to each other. And if you're lucky, you had some good examples, and often it comes back to that: how do we stand in that emotional vulnerability with people? And for me, it's been the toughest journey and one of the most liberating to be able to be emotionally vulnerable. And I think the first time I came across it, I hope you don't mind, I hope you got a bit of time. The first time I became aware of what that issue was I went to this amazing retreat in Bali. And if you want to tap into me and ask me where it was, I mean, seriously, it was just the most amazing experience, but also one of the toughest of my life, because I went there basically because my second marriage had broken down, and there was trust issues were broken, and sometimes that can really get to you at a heart level. And I wasn't coping, even with my background in transformational coaching. And you know, I literally just could not pick myself up out of it because of a level of hurt that had been caused by it. And you know, I went to this retreat and I had to face the dark and light sides of myself, and you know, there was stuff that was brought up that I wasn't aware of, and you know, it really made me, at one point, like 2 days in, I just literally wanted to pack my bags and leave. And sometimes facing those home truths about yourself can be really difficult, because you do have to accept responsibility for how you show up in relationships as well. It's not always about the other person. And you know, it kind of started a journey for me in terms of transformation. And you know, I thought I had my shit together. I didn't have my shit together, mostly, but not all of it, no way. And I had learned so much since then and grown so much since then. And one of the biggest things for me was that inability to stand in those emotional vulnerabilities, stand up for myself and express my feelings, and put boundaries in place with people as well, which is another really important thing to do. And to express your expectations of, you know, and to think highly enough of yourself. And that was probably one of my biggest aha moments, was you know, there was a bit of lack of self-confidence there, and a lack of self-love. And I know when I came back, one of the funniest things is I was running this meetup group at the time, right? We got over to like 300 something members, which was awesome. But I used to do presentations for them on technology and stuff. And when I came back, they just all looked at me and said, "I don't know what you're doing, but your energy has totally shifted." And they were just enthralled. And I did this talk for them in terms of, you know, emotional vulnerability and stuff like that. And yeah, it was kind of like a transformational coaching thing for them. But anyway. And what I realized from that point was my ability to be, and I was just so raw with them about my journey and the journey that I had gone through with this retreat, and how I'd come back and the things that I had learned, but how much it had also made an impact on my life. And my ability in that room, and I got actually asked to do that talk again with another group, it lifted the whole room, and it just opened people up in such an amazing way. That ability to be vulnerable with people and express your feelings, and honestly, and to say, you know, hey, well, you know, I haven't got all my shit together. No, I haven't. And none of us, you know, often we have times in our lives when we do, and we have times in our lives when we don't. And it's about that reaching out and expressing that, and not being afraid to express it, and asking for help, and saying to people, hey, you know, I'm not having such a great day, or this is bothering me, and what are your thoughts on that? And the energy in that room was amazing, and people just came up and wanted to talk to me and hug me, and you know, it kind of got a lot of people thinking also about their own journey. And you know, I know my ability to be emotionally vulnerable has helped my eldest brother open up to some of the stuff that he was dealing with as well, particularly around our family, and to go on a bit more of a healing path. And I guess I want to say with you that, like, we started this story off right with my indecision, my inability to make a decision. And actually, I've created this situation because I refused to stand in my vulnerability the first time around, and accept my feelings for somebody, and accept my feelings that you know, somebody that I had connected with had, you know, they have lots of constraints on their time, and weren't even in the same place as me, but they took a little chunk of my heart with them. And instead of recognizing that and going, hey, you know, I might be patient with myself yourself and wait. You know, anyway, I won't go into it, but yeah. And it's about going, well, you know, I just should have recognized that, yeah, I had feelings, you know, I had feelings there. And what the message came back to me from Divine and Spirit, because I always ask, is that I need to still, even though I've done so much work on myself and I'm in such a great place, I still struggle with that ability to stand in my vulnerability sometimes, because it can be overwhelming in terms of your emotions. And then you kind of go like, well, I've still got this day-to-day, I love it when the sun does that, I've still got this day-to-day life to carry on with, you know what I mean? And I can't get stuck in my emotions. And you don't want to be stuck in your emotions. You've got to work from your head and your heart space. Do you know what I mean? So I kind of shut my feelings off there for a while. And I've opened them back up. But yeah, I just came back to that message. And how do we do that? Because it's scary. Do you know what I mean? It's scary putting your feelings out there, because you can get rejected. People can, you know, you can get ridiculed. That's what goes through our mind. Sorry about the light, guys. There we go. We'll do that. There we go. Sorry. I'll try and get it right for you. It's just coming through the window at the moment. And yeah, we go through all these thoughts in our mind about worst case scenarios, about what's going to happen if we express our feelings openly and honestly and from the heart, right? And then I will tell you the best outcomes happen. The best outcomes happen. But I had to come to a decision, right? I had to make a decision. And I just want to share with you that it is scary standing in your vulnerability. Sometimes you just have to do it if you want your relationships to improve, if you want your life balance to improve, if you want to be living in a place of, I guess, honesty with yourself. It's about taking that step and being emotionally vulnerable and saying, hey, you know what, that didn't feel great. Or, you know what, I love you to bits. Or, you know what, I don't love this job much. No, my heart is somewhere else. Do you know, whatever it is for you. Sorry, that's jumping. For me, one of the other hardest things, and you know, I hope you don't mind me being personal with you, one of the other hardest things was being emotionally vulnerable with my own family, from how we had grown up, and going, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I can literally not do the way that we react and relate to each other in terms of within our own family. And this is not my family with my kids, this is my family with my parents and my brothers. And it was about going, you know what, hey, well, if you want a relationship with me, this is all got to change, because I can't do it anymore. The amount of emotional damage that it created in terms of my psyche and, you know, my brothers, what they were going through as well. And it's totally changed our family. And it was interesting, because it was something that somebody said to me, and it was like, well, you know what, you guys are all adults, and it's about time you decided as siblings how you want your family to be. It's your choice. And I think it was a very empowering thing to say. And it's totally, you know, we are actively working on repairing those relationships. But I also come from a place where, you know what, the most important thing is my own emotional, mental, physical and spiritual well-being. And I will put very firm boundaries in place with people now, particularly ones that have created that emotional damage in the past, to say, hey, I'm not doing it anymore. Don't do it anymore. I just literally put the boundaries up and don't take it. And sometimes that includes separating yourself from people and spending time with the most positive ones. And I guess I just want to say to you, always look after self. People are important, but always come back and look after self, because there is only you in this journey in life. You know, people make the world go round, and we want that connection with people. And don't ever shut yourself off from people. Find yourself an amazing community. You know, one of the things that I am most joyful about in my life is that I have this amazing community of these gorgeous girlfriends, and this is where I'm going today. I'm going to yoga with Sasha, the beautiful Sasha. If you ever get to Perth, come and do one of Sasha's classes. She's not easy. She's a tough, fiery little thing, but she's amazingly beautiful as well. And I can just look at her all day. She's so gorgeous. But she's a tough little nut. And but I have this amazing surrounding of gorgeous friends that are so supportive, and you know, we laugh and we have fun, and we pick each other up when you need to be picked up. And I have another friend, Lou, who I just absolutely adore, and she can call me at any time. She can message me in the middle of the goddamn night, because I love her that much. Do you know what I mean? But we support each other, and we support each other fully. And sometimes you need that outside of your own external circumstances, particularly with family and stuff. You need those sounding boards and somebody be a support for them, but for them to be a support for you. I hope that you found this helpful. I guess if I can instill in anything is, hang on, try not to run into things here. If I can instill anything in you is to find that level of deep self-love and to start practicing it on a daily basis, and that means putting yourself first.